compost cool over summer? We've had a lot of questions out there, and I thought this would be a good opportunity just to go through a few simple tips. Now, full disclosure, it's not summer where I am. I'm actually in Tasmania. It's quite cold right now, but a lot of you out there are from the US, from parts of Europe, and are experiencing heat waves. So as you all know, the climate's getting hotter and a lot more unpredictable, and it's really good that we're composting underground because it's going to be a lot more resilient than compared to an above ground system. However, if this is your first year, or it's really a really serious heat wave that you have, you want to take some extra precautions to ensure that your worms and microbes stay cool and comfortable and can keep composting your food scraps. So the first tip I would suggest is to freeze a bottle of plastic, and this will act as like a little worm AC. So just freeze this the night before, pop it in there, let it defrost, and that will keep your system cool. The second tip, which is kind of the same tip, is to freeze your fruit scraps, and that way when they melt down, they will actually feed your worms and microbes too. So that's kind of a win-win. The third one, which is probably the easiest, is to dunk your worm blanket in some water. I like dunking it is able. The reason why I dunk it opposed to like just spraying water over it is that it holds a lot more water. And just pop it on, pop it back on in your sub pod. And just check that daily. Every time you feed your worms, just make sure the worm blanket is moist. If you don't have a worm blanket because the worms have eaten it, because it's so tasty, I would suggest just getting some cardboard, doing the same thing, or some paper. It won't hold as much moisture, but it still has the same principles behind it. The third tip I would say is to actually start to mulch around the bed. I mean, this is a really good practice. Mulching around the bed helps reflect the sunlight off, but it also keeps moisture in the soil. Apart from that, it breaks down and it feeds the soil. Soil doesn't really want to be bare. It's like us not wearing any clothes. It makes us vulnerable. So making sure that there is mulch on your soil is always good. The last tip I would say is to pop an umbrella over. Like, this is a really easy way. Popping a shade structure over it will just ensure that the part that will heat up, the lid, is protected. So choose whichever one of those four tips will work for you during the hotter months. Yeah, I definitely recommend the easiest one is to just moisten your worm blanket, so checking up on that, and then maybe the frozen bottle. And then mulching is always a good practice. So like whether or not it's summer or it's winter, I always mulch my beds, and I think it really improves the whole ecosystem as a whole and then produces better plants. So I hope that helps. I hope those tips help. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to give you a bit more tips or information. Our job here is to really just give you all the information possible so you can become compost champions and then help other people grow with their new systems. And yeah, we really appreciate, well, I really appreciate this community and how much people are engaged in the process. So feel free to throw any other questions that they come at you, and have a great day.